Welcome to Worked Up. This is where we make sense of the wild ride that is working life. We tackle the experiences that bring out the best in us and occasionally the worst. You'll find practical advice you can actually use, helping you to start taking action on whatever's got you worked up about work. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is about knowing your strengths. After interviewing insurance professionals for over 20 years, I've noticed something interesting. The people who come across best in interviews aren't always the most experienced. They're certainly not always the most qualified, and they're not always the smartest person. Quite often, they're simply the people who understand what they're good at. They know where they add value and they can explain it clearly. And they have examples to back it up. Sometimes people haven't stopped to think about what they do particularly well, or they have become so used to doing something that they really don't realize that it's actually a strength. So today I want to share a few simple ways to identify your strengths more clearly and why I think it's one of the most useful things that you can do for your career. Understanding your strengths can help you with your confidence, with career planning, promotions, interviews, and even deciding which opportunities are worth exploring further. One of the easiest ways to identify your strengths is to think about what people regularly ask for help with. What are you known for in the office? What do your colleagues come to you for? Maybe you're the person who can interpret a policy wording better than anyone else. Maybe you're the one that calms down an upset client. Or maybe you're the one that spots the details that others miss. Maybe you're the person who can consistently turn inquiries into sales. These are all clues into where your strengths lie. Very often, the things that feel easiest or most natural to us are the things that we take for granted and therefore can overlook. We tend to assume everyone can do those things as easily as we can, but in reality, they can't. And that's often why you can sometimes feel a bit stumped by the question about strengths. Another place to look is the feedback you've received throughout your career. Think about the performance reviews that you've been in. Think about client feedback, comments from your managers, even compliments from workmates. What themes keep coming up? Maybe people regularly tell you that you're organised, or they might say that you're calm under pressure, or they might describe you as commercial, thorough, approachable, or responsive. One comment on its own might not mean much, but if you've had similar feedback from different people over several years, there's probably something in it. Those recurring themes are often pointing towards genuine strengths. In fact, here's a simple exercise you might want to try. Ask 3 people you trust. What do you think I'm particularly good at? And then compare their answers. I think you might be surprised about how consistent they are. Another question worth asking yourself is, what parts of my job do I genuinely enjoy? Which tasks or activities seem to make the day go a bit faster? This is the work that you gravitate to, that you don't mind being asked to do more of. The problems that you enjoy solving. For some people, it's an opportunity to talk with other people, building relationships. For others, it's analysing information or playing with spreadsheets. Some people just enjoy negotiating. They enjoy coaching and mentoring, or they love solving complex problems. Quite often, there's a connection between what you're naturally good at and what you enjoy doing. It's also worth remembering that we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, and these can look very different from one person to the next. In insurance, we need all sorts of people. Some people are brilliant relationship builders, some are highly analytical, some thrive in sales environments, and others are super sleuths. Some people love structure and process, and others enjoy dealing with uncertainty and making decisions. None of those strengths are better than the others, they're just different. Understanding where your strengths sit can help you understand where you add the most value. This is one of the reasons why we offer personality profiling as part of our process, because it can help you understand how you're naturally wired, the type of work that comes more naturally to you, and the environments that you're likely to thrive in. How you prefer to communicate, and sometimes why certain tasks seem to drain you of energy, while others will give you energy. For some people, the profiling simply confirms what they already suspected, and for others, it highlights strengths that they hadn't really recognized before. Either way, it can be a useful tool for understanding yourself a bit better. Here's a hot tip. If you work in the Australian general insurance industry and you're curious about your own personality profile, we've made that available free of charge. There'll be a link in the show notes if you would like to learn more. So final thoughts, try not to overcomplicate this. You don't need 20 strengths, and in fact, that means that they're not strengths at all. You just need to identify what are the 3 or maybe 4 that generally describe how you add value. Once you know what those are, you'll start to recognize them more often and build on them throughout your career. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. If you have any questions about this episode, feel free to reach out to us at hello@able, A-B-L-E, recruitment.com.au. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.